So you've been in this business for quite a long time. Tell me honestly, do you really feel that this summit, the last OAU summit, was really different from all the preceding ones?
Well, all summits have their own uniqueness and their own importance, but I would say, quite frankly, it was a historical summit. And I again say, from my point of view, apart from the other discussions, issues of economic cooperation, issues of conflict situations, the usual problems that are facing our continent, but I think the mere fact that the leaders took this particular decision of saying, look, we want to situate Africa as a central place for looking at African conflicts. We want our organization to play a more central role in conflict prevention. I think that was a major breakthrough insofar as our organization's activities is concerned.
You don't think the breakthrough would have been more like if they had decided on how specifically they wanted to achieve some of these objectives you just underlined, other than just mentioning them?
No, I think they went, there were specifics. Not too specific, but specific enough. Because what have we done in Cairo? The leaders decided that we would have a mechanism which would enable Africa and the African states to play a more central role in conflict resolutions. And in that respect, they created the central organ for that purpose. They gave responsibility to the General Secretariat and the Secretary General, and pledged themselves to try and do their utmost to provide it with the necessary resources, but more important also with the political will to do so. Now, if you look back and remember that there was a time when it was considered sacrilegious to think in terms of internal conflicts in our continent, to have an OAU play any role at all in internal conflicts, to the time when the decision was taken with a resounding support of the member states. I think this is nothing short of a major breakthrough in that area.
The fact that now it is possible to intervene in another African country if you consider it essential.
No, the question, if you put it that way, what the Cairo summit did was not to authorize blanket intervention in the internal affairs of member states. And I think it would have been tragic if the OAU had done so. I think it's important to bear in mind the principle of non-interference or non-intervention in the domestic affairs of member states is a sacrosanct principle. It is sacrosanct not only for the OAU, it is sacrosanct also for the United Nations. Because if you allow a situation where everybody whose perception feels that something is going wrong in another country and can interfere, then you have a problem. What is different is that what we are saying, that Africa cannot be indifferent to the suffering of other Africans. What we are saying that you cannot have a Somalia situation, you cannot have a Liberia situation and pretend that Africa has no business to do anything.
So what would you authorize in such a situation?
Oh, it's very clear. In such situations, there is a collective responsibility on the part of Africa to do something. Well, in the past, such a possibility was never visualized. Mind you, my own view has always been that there is nothing in the Charter of the Organization of African Unity which really says that Africans should be indifferent when other Africans are suffering, when people are dying by the thousands. I think it has the only unfortunate thing that in the past, for some reason, people have resorted to the provision of the Charter to justify the worst that was happening in our continent.